Hey guys, Jordan here from Iron and Grit, and today I want to talk to you about how to get lean and how to do it in the quickest time possible. There's a lot of factors to weigh in when you got to get lean, but I want to focus on one technique, strategy, method. Method's probably the best word to use. I want to focus on the best method to get lean that I know of, and that's intermittent fasting. If you're in this part of YouTube, or if you're in the fitness sphere of any social media, you've probably already heard of intermittent fasting. It's been in vogue now for the past couple of years. A lot of people are doing it, and it's because it's successful. It helps. It helps to lean up. It helps with body composition. It helps with fat burning. It definitely has a lot of benefits. One of the drawbacks would be if you're trying to build muscle, not particularly great for building muscle just because you are in starvation mode for a fairly large portion of the day, which means you're going to be missing some of your anabolic window, which is your opportunity to grow and rebuild muscle after your training. So if you want to get lean, intermittent fasting is something that you could try. Obviously, I'm not a medical expert. I don't pretend to be one. However, I've used it, and I know people who have done intermittent fasting, and they've done it very successfully. So I can walk through some of the benefits of intermittent fasting and my experience with it. So I've been fasting intermittently for several years now. I would say, probably about 7 years. And there's a few different kinds of intermittent fasting. I'll just focus on two for now. And then I'll talk about how the word fasting can actually mean different things for different people. When I'm speaking about fasting, I mean complete and total calorie restriction, 0 calories. Not reduction of calories, but the elimination of calories during the fasting period or the fasting window. So if we're clear on that, the two types of intermittent fasting that I have done before and have had good results with in terms of changing my body composition and actually maintaining muscle mass. Didn't really build a bunch of muscle mass, but I don't think I lost any either. But I did lose fat when I was doing fasting. And it actually, if I didn't build muscle, it looked like I had more muscle because my muscle was actually showing. Because as the fat started to dissolve, the muscles could show. And I actually looked bigger, I looked more ripped, I looked more athletic and stronger while I was fasting, just due to the fact that you could see the muscles under my skin and it wasn't covered by a layer of blubber. So the two types of fasting that I've done, there's something called 16-8 intermittent fasting, and basically you fast for 16 hours and you eat within an 8-hour window. So when I was doing that, my schedule would look like I'd wake up in the morning, I would work out, and then I would go to work and I would eat something probably around 11. So my fasting window, my feeding window began around 11, so a little before lunchtime for most people. And I had a moderate-sized lunch. I wouldn't stuff myself because I still had to be productive that day, but I had enough to get rid of the hunger pangs to keep me satisfied until around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I would start to get a little hungry. My body would start to crave some nutrition. So I'd have a snack of some sort. And then after work, I would go home, have a big dinner, huge dinner. Took me a while to eat it just because it was just an enormous amount of food and I was just so hungry, just building up that hunger throughout the day because I didn't really eat anything prior to that. And plus I've been training consistently. So anyway, long story short, my last meal, dinner, started eating around 6:37, finished up around, 8 o'clock in the evening. So about an 8-hour feeding window. And then after that, I was done eating for the day. I would go to bed, try to get to bed early, usually around 10 at the latest, and then wake up at 5, start it all over again. Go to the gym first thing in the morning, be pounding a bunch of water, some black coffee, and you could argue there's some calories in black coffee, but it didn't affect it didn't have any adverse effects that I saw while I was doing my intermittent fasting. If anything, the coffee, the caffeine helps suppress your appetite, helps suppress your hunger a little bit. And it can also help give you some energy, especially if you are used to eating breakfast or feel like you might be a little bit slower than usual if you don't have some fuel in the tank, which makes sense. For some people, that hunger can be distracting, and it is, but after a while, your body gets used to it. And if you keep drinking water and stay adequately hydrated, putting that water into your stomach, having that volume in your stomach, actually in a way will fake out your stomach for a little bit, so you don't have like those intense hunger pangs or anything. And the coffee, like I said, will help suppress your appetite as well. And after a couple of weeks, most people adjust to that 16-8 style intermittent fasting, and they really don't get hungry anymore. At least I didn't, and people I talked to that did it didn't get hungry, or as hungry, to a point where they couldn't tolerate it, So, you grow accustomed to it, you get used to it, you're able to tolerate it after a week or so. Another benefit of intermittent fasting that I noticed was I was lighter on my feet. I had less anxiety, which we can get into why that was in a minute, and I just felt like I was more productive during the day because I didn't have any food in my stomach weighing me down. It takes a lot of energy for your body to break down and digest meals. You can throw out facts and figures and numbers, but like a very significant percentage of all of your body's energy, all of your body's life force is spent breaking down and digesting the food that you consume, and making it, transferring it into energy that you can actually use. So if you can spend time on an empty stomach, you're going to be able to have that energy to put towards another outlet. So that can be work or some other productive pursuit, whatever you choose to do. So it made me feel sharper. Intermittent fasting, it made me feel mentally sharper. And you'll notice it too. After you do it for a while and your body gets used to it, you'll be sharp as a tack, and then you'll eat something and you might, depending on what you eat, you might feel a little dull, You might feel like you kind of dulled a little bit. And the productivity after you have a meal kind of starts to go like this. It's a little different for everybody, and it also depends on like what your habits are, etc. But on an empty stomach, when you're a little bit hungry, you're just a little bit sharper. So keep that in mind. That's something that was a unintended benefit that I noticed from intermittent fasting. Another thing was it reduced my anxiety. And it could be the food that I was eating, because if you're putting processed food down your gullet and into your belly, then it's going to put your body in a mild state of shock. Your body's going to become inflamed, and when your body's inflamed, it causes anxiety. Your body senses it. Your body can sense that through your nervous system, and that can translate into anxiety and cause all kinds of problems. You see it. Anxiety is much more prevalent now than it used to be. And that is correlated with how poor our diet has become over time with the introduction of more processed foods. So I was able to, and part of the reason I think it also helped reduce my anxiety is because I was more in the moment. I had more mental clarity, so I was able to focus, I was able to get more done, and I was able to kill it without hesitation. So that translated into winning more and not hesitating and not feeling anxious. All right, moving on. Another cool thing, so that's one type of intermittent fasting. There's also extended periods of fasting, like 24-hour fasts, 48-hour fasts. And I've done both durations of fast. So I fasted for an entire 24 hours and I fasted for an entire 48 hours. I trained during both of those. And I can tell you the hunger, the 24-hour fast wasn't too bad. The 48-hour fast I was very hungry. Around like that 36-hour mark, I was really starting to feel it. I remember being at the gym. I was like, all right, right before I was about to break my 48-hour fast, I went to the gym and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get a good workout in. I'm gonna get like super extra hungry. And then I'm gonna go home and I planned it out. I made ribs, I slow cooked ribs for like 10 hours. And I was gonna eat like 2 full racks of ribs. That was my plan. That's exactly what I did. It was like almost 4 pounds of ribs. Anyway, I trained fine. My strength was fine. You know, it might have been, I wasn't maxing out or anything, but I was able to get a good workout in. Felt sore the next day, got good volume in, and I was able to focus. But like I said, I think that's also, it was a good test. It was a good experiment because it's also proof that you can do more than what you think you're capable of. I mean, you're told to eat, 6 meals a day to keep your energy up, or you're told to eat 3 square meals a day because that's just what you need to do. But I don't necessarily agree with that. You can get by fine on 1 meal a day. You can get by fine on 2 meals a day. It just depends what your lifestyle is like, what your energy expenditure is like, and the quality of food that you're eating. Just to name a few things. But that's a different topic for a different time. If you want me to extrapolate on that, leave me a specific question in the comments and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. So some people, they'll do the extended fasting. I just did it to see what it was like and to say that I've done it. So why would somebody do, the 16/8 intermittent fasting versus the 24-hour fasts or the 48-hour fasts? Well, there's a few different reasons. The 16/8 intermittent fasting, I think, is a good, sustainable way to get lean and do it in a relatively short amount of time and without going to the extreme. Even though a day or two fast, it's not really that extreme. People make it out to be like it's extreme. It's not that extreme. Like people not even so many generations back from you were going days without food. It wasn't until fairly recently that food was so abundant. And there's still people to this day that are going without food for days at a time. Anyway, we digress. So why would anyone do the 16/8 intermittent fasting? It's just more sustainable. If you have a 9-to-5 job or normal type life, that's an easy way to get through it, to stay lean. Can really act as a hedge between, getting your diet off track, and can really help kind of like keep your diet in check, even if you don't always eat the best. It can also help you get lean if you need to kind of accelerate your fat loss for whatever reason. The longer when we start talking about the 24-hour fasts and the 48-hour fasts plus, that some people do it as kind of like a crash diet. I personally did it just to see what it was like. See what kind of like physical changes, mental changes, anything that happens, strength changes, attitude, focus, all those kind of things. Just kind of notated and just kind of observed how I would react to it. But there are people that will do the extended fasts as a practice for health. Not only just to get lean, but when you fast, it allows your body to kind of shift gears and expel any toxins, any buildup, any kind of gunk you might have collected in your system over the years. So, like I mentioned before, it takes a lot of energy for your body to digest food and to break it all down properly. If you can shut down that portion of your body for a second, your body will then focus on healing itself. It has a lot of energy left over to heal itself, but it can't do, well, it can do a lot of things at once. But one of the cool benefits of intermittent fasting is called autophagy. And what that is when your cells basically do a culling, and the weaker cells in your body essentially sacrifice themselves, get absorbed by the other cells in your body as a source of fuel in a way. So they kind of give themselves up for the greater good. But what this does is it has a regenerative effect and can basically turn you into an organism full of super cells. Like only the strongest cells can survive a state of extended fasting. So the unhealthy cells, the damaged cells, those get absorbed by your body. They get absorbed by the other cells so that you're left with only the strongest cells that in turn are the ones that divide and split and reproduce. So that's another benefit, and another reason why I believe in fasting and think that it is good practice to do every once in a while. However, like I said, I don't really do the 24-hour and 48-hour fasting. I might do one here when I'm done with my kind of bulk phase. I'm trying to even out my pecs a little bit, and I don't want to be without food for that long because I feel like I'm making good progress as is. But I'll occasionally do, I lost my train of thought. What were we just talking about? Okay, shifting gears here a bit, but I want to talk about what my diet looks like when I do intermittent fasting. And the amount of food that I eat in a day while I'm doing the 16-8 intermittent fasting, I'll have 2 big meals, kind of like I mentioned before. I'll have lunch, I'll have dinner, and I might have 1 or 2 snacks in between those meals. And if I feel like it, I might have a dessert after dinner, just for like a little treat, because I got one hell of a sweet tooth, and sometimes you just got to satisfy the craving. It's life, man. Got to live it up. Anyway, I still try to keep it relatively healthy. If you're doing intermittent fasting, to me, it doesn't make sense to, fast all day, work out in the morning, work all morning after that, and then lunchtime, smash 2 Big Mac cheeseburgers, and a chocolate shake with fries and an apple pie. As delicious as that sounds and as good as that would be, you'll probably crash in the afternoon and you basically erase all the good that you did that day with letting your body heal and burning the fat all morning. So, once in a while, if you need a cheat meal and that's your thing, go for it. If you're already pretty lean, that's fine. But my point is, you don't want to eat like crap and fool yourself into thinking because you're intermittent fasting, you can eat whatever you want. I know that's kind of an extreme example, but that's the point that I want to make. What I would do instead, and you probably already know where I'm going with this, is, eat your steak, eat your eggs, have your salads. Fish is great. What I would do, I'll do what I think would be an ideal meal plan for the 16/8 intermittent fasting lifestyle. Like I said, in the morning, I'd wake up. First thing I do, slam some lemon water or regular water. And what I use is this. I fill this up. I even still have lemon seeds in it, but I fill this up. This is 1 quart. That's 32 ounces of water. And I pour some distilled water into it and fill that all the way up to the brim, and I slam it. First thing in the morning. I take a pee and then I slam 32 ounces of fresh water. My coffee pot's running. So as soon as that's done, I fill up my mug. Then I get out the door. I go to the gym. My backpack's already packed. And I'll drink black coffee to get me through my workout, to help wake me up and to give me energy throughout the morning, and to suppress my appetite with the caffeine and to add more volume to my stomach. And I like the flavor of coffee, so it also gives you a little bit of flavor too, since you're not eating. And that's another benefit people don't tell you when you're fasting. Your senses are so much more heightened that your taste buds will be on edge, and you will have notes and flavors of foods come through that you've never tasted or experienced before. So that's an added bonus. Fasting makes food taste better. So that's pretty cool. Like vegetables will actually kind of taste sweet once you're fasting. It's really interesting when those real flavors come through. Anyway, so no food until lunchtime, just water and coffee. And then lunch, I would have a big green salad. And I would load it up with all different kinds of vegetables. I would put tomatoes on there. I might put onions on there. A little bit of cheese. I'd put some cheese on there, maybe some feta or some goat cheese or some blue cheese, whatever they had at the salad bar, if that's where you're going. Some seeds, some pumpkin seeds, some sunflower seeds. Let's see, maybe a couple of cranberries, those dried cranberries if you want something sweet. Some shredded carrots, some cabbage, peas, snow peas, snap peas, lima beans. You can tell I'm hungry because I'm just rattling off all kinds of different foods, but load it up. Make it a garden variety salad. Piece of fruit is fine. You can slice up some apple or a pear in there, or save the fruit for a snack later. And then put some protein on it. Some tuna fish, some salmon. Even the white fish is fine. I would go with a fattier fish, or some sort of cod. I don't know, cod, that would be kind of weird, but you could put a white fish on there if you wanted to, but I would stick to like a tuna or a salmon on my salad. You could also go with a chicken, a baked chicken, grilled chicken, something like that, or pan-seared steak, whatever tickles your fancy or whatever you have a taste for at that place and time. So I would scarf down that salad. Then for a snack, like I said, you could do fruit, you could do almonds. Trying to think what else. Yeah, some form of nuts, some form of fruit. You could do a protein bar if that's what you wanted to do. Protein bars are kind of like, they're basically like glorified candy bars, but they're good. If you need some flavor in your day and you're eating well, protein bar, you can look forward to that kind of that flavor and that sweetness and that taste and that crunch, whatever protein bar you have. So that's fine for a snack too. And then for dinner, dinner can really be anything. If you want to splurge a little bit on dinner, I mean, you're basically skipping one meal, which is breakfast. You're not eating breakfast. And then for lunch, you're eating healthy, and then you're eating a healthy snack. So if you want to eat a burger or two, like, I wouldn't go through a drive-through, but if you're making burgers at home, like grilling your own burgers, that's fine. If you want to have like a couple of burgers with a bun, that's fine. That probably isn't too big of a deal. Unless you want to go, I mean, there will be some trade-offs with that. You won't get as lean as quickly doing that, but if you're concerned about that, getting lean as quickly as possible, just cut out the carbs. Instead of a bun, use iceberg lettuce and just create yourself a nice little iceberg lettuce envelope around your cheeseburger and eat it that way. And then I don't count calories. I just try to cut out the processed foods. You're automatically probably going to eat less in most cases for most people by just not eating that first meal during the day. But yeah, the dinner could be like steak with some asparagus or some grilled vegetable. You can do some steamed broccoli. You know, you can bake or broil some chicken. Really anything healthy. Anything that is, you know, a good, wholesome, whole, all-natural food. A big portion of protein. You'll be good to go. Maybe a little side salad. Definitely get something green with dinner as well. And as far as dressings, salad dressings, I'm gonna walk over to my pantry real quick. What I would recommend, get some extra virgin olive oil. I mean, it's fat content, but as long as you get the real stuff, real 100% extra virgin olive oil, doesn't have to be this brand, but just, you have to look closely at the label because it'll say olive oil on it, or it will say extra virgin olive oil on it, but it will actually blend a lower quality oil with the olive oil, and it's not as good for you. They'll blend like canola oil in with it or something that you just don't want to consume. So I'll do like an oil with a vinegar, and you know, you can do like an apple cider vinegar. That would actually be probably the best. Or you could do like a red wine vinegar, something like this, just to give it some flavor. You could do, they also make yogurt-based like dressings, like a yogurt-based ranch dressing. It doesn't have the canola oil or any nasty stuff in there that's like, that they put in dressings nowadays. It's actually like a Greek yogurt base. Just read the labels and you'll find something good. And then, you know, you can season it up. You can put some Italian seasoning on there, some Italian herbs, some salt, some black pepper, and then move on. All right, so yeah, there's actually a lot of different foods and alternatives that I could tell you guys about. This video is already getting kind of lengthy, so I'm gonna save it for another time. But if you have specific questions, like I mentioned before, just let me know. Ask in the comments so that when I respond, everyone else can benefit from your question and the answer. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of intermittent fasting. You know, just to recap the benefits. It's great if you want to get lean quick. It's very difficult to overeat unless you are eating just absolute slop level quality food. But if you're eating good, wholesome, nutritious meals, it's going to be very difficult to first of all overeat and to be nutrient deficient in any way that's going to negatively impact your progress in the gym and your health in general. So if you do decide to do the longer term fasting, sometimes if you drink too much water, I mean, you want to drink a lot of water, at least a gallon a day. But one thing you can do just to maintain the right levels of sodium and salts in your body is you can get by with some lemon water. So you can use some water. I like using distilled water and squeeze like a whole lemon per like half gallon that you drink. You can use a whole lemon, I would say. And then just sprinkle some sea salt in there as well. And just give it a stir And that should help you maintain your electrolytes, so you don't flush out all the salts from your body and things like that. Another thing, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this, but this is an Iron and Grit exclusive as far as I know. I haven't seen it anywhere else. But aloe vera juice from the aloe vera plant, obviously, but it has all of your essential electrolytes that you would need, and it is a perfect thing to sip on and drink if you were doing an extended fasting session. It doesn't taste that great, I'll be honest with you there, but you're not really doing it for taste. You're doing it for health at that point. And if it's too gross, you just can't do it, or you can't find it because it is difficult to find. I found it at the Publix grocery store here, and once I discovered it, I was like, oh man, this is great. I'm gonna fast all the time because I'm gonna drink this and it's something new, yada, yada, yada. I bought it once, then I went back to buy it like 2 weeks later after I finally used it, and it was gone. It just didn't sell enough. So I don't know, keep your eyes out for it. Aloe vera juice. If I can think of the brand, I'll put it in the notes below in the video, but it has all of the good stuff in it that you need to replenish, so that may be washed away if you are drinking too much fluid, or when you do drink a lot of fluid. But you gotta drink at least a gallon a day. I drink probably closer to 2 gallons a day. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for now. If you have any questions about intermittent fasting, anything I didn't cover, anything else you want me to go into more detail about, let me know. Happy to accommodate requests. I've got a long list of content that I want to start putting out. A lot of knowledge that I wish I knew when I was younger, and didn't have the experience that I do today, that if I did have that knowledge that I have now, it would have helped me make progress so much quicker, and it would have saved me a lot of pain. So thanks for watching, guys. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe so I know that you're watching this and want to see more stuff like this. And yeah, I hope you have an awesome week, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.